Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And for 18 years, we've been sharing this information, and we're international now. We're actually in 8 or 9 other countries right now. And sharing this information. And actually, somebody, sent us a message last night. It says, does this work in Barbados? So, we don't have anyone in Barbados. So I went online and I Googled banks in Barbados. And then you can go on their website and their mortgage calculators. And then when you put in certain information, and I get a certain number back, I know our program works in Barbados. So I was able to tell everyone that, yes, we can do this in Barbados. I had a really good time at a church service yesterday, and I actually did Sabbath school yesterday for an online church, and it was amazing. And some of you are in here today supporting the P.I.L.L method. I am so thankful to you and everyone. Now, the person that's running our background here his name is Kirk Nugent. He's going to make sure that everything is going to be on the screen so that you guys can see it. And we're going to have a very good time. Listen, if you have questions, start with your questions. You could put them in the chat. And if we have somebody on stage, we're actually online as well on Clubhouse. And I want to say good morning to everyone on our Clubhouse stage. Clubhouse is an audio app, and people are able to come on the stage and speak to me. So if you are on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and you want to download on your phone the Clubhouse app, you can actually interact with us on this audio app. So yeah, join Clubhouse and come on in. If you're in Clubhouse right now and you have a question or comment, please raise your hand, come to the stage, and you can actually, we can talk to each other and have a very good time. Even if you don't want to talk, or if you can't talk, if you want to come to the stage and just sit on the stage and learn, that's going to be amazing as well, because all the people that are following you get notified as soon as you hit our stage, and they can come in and learn some things as well. So raise your hand, come on up, and listen. If you're going to be in here anyway, come up on the stage. And that would be a great thing to do. And if you're on Clubhouse and you have a red ticket, that means you are not a member of the Mortgage Syndicate house. Join the Mortgage Syndicate house. And at the top, just click on Mortgage Syndicate and join the waiting room, and you will eventually be let in to the house. And also click on my profile here on Clubhouse so that you can join the Clubhouse. The P.I.L.L Method house as well. All right. And follow me as your moderator. All right. Follow me as your moderator. And we're going to jump in here right now to get going. So I want to say good morning to everyone. Go ahead and tell me where you're from. Say good morning back. We're going to talk. We got Sharon Jones from Pulaski, Tennessee. Good morning to you. And let's see. We have. Predest 116. Good morning to you. We have Lynette Gooding. Good morning to you, Lynette. All right. And let's see. Nicole C says good morning. Oh, good morning to everyone. I am so glad to see you in here this morning. Let's see. Katura Fleming, good morning to you, watching us on YouTube. And listen, go ahead and tell us where you're from. If you're here on Clubhouse, do the same. All right. And I see Nabal on Clubhouse, Jackie Woods from California, from San Francisco. All right. Nabal from San Francisco. We got Kim from Charleston, West Virginia. Good morning to you. James Ray says good morning. Lansing, Michigan. Hey, James, I'm from Battle Creek, Michigan. All right. And listen, I have some news this morning about Battle Creek, Michigan. I'm going to give that out in just a little bit. We got Sierra Alvarez, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, from Katy, Texas. Good morning to everyone that's in here right now. But first of all, before we even get started, we got a little bit of news, okay? Here is our news this morning, all right? And it's going to be a special news for some of you, and it's just going to be general news for a lot of you. And today, May 21st, 1863, was the formal organizing of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Battle Creek, Michigan. This is the 160th anniversary of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, May 21st, 1863, organized in Battle Creek, Michigan. And you know what is amazing about all of that? I was, soon after I was born, my family moved to Battle Creek, Michigan, and I grew up in Battle Creek, Michigan. How about that? I grew up in Battle Creek. I had no idea of Adventist history or any of this, but I was actually baptized in Battle Creek, Michigan. So shout out to everyone who that means something to. All right. Good morning, everyone. And so listen, who else do we have in here? We've got Roderick. Good morning to you. Let me see. Nicole C. Diana Johnson. Good morning. Good morning. So if you have a question, let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to jump right in, everybody. The interest rate you're quoted is not the interest rate you pay. The interest rate you are quoted is not the interest rate you pay. So I've got to fix this up so that I can look at my notes here. So we're going to have to see, let's see here, do this, and then do this, and there we go. All right, so I can now view my notes so we can go ahead and get started. Listen, you know where this is going. It's going in a certain place this morning. The interest rate you quoted is not the interest rate you pay. That's important to note, okay? The interest rate you're quoted is not the interest rate you pay, but it's going somewhere. That is just the overarching idea. But what is the reason for that? There's a reason why we focus on interest rate instead of interest cost. There's a reason why that happens. Okay. So here is the thing. Here's the thing. I want you to realize this, that people with perfect credit are often tricked into paying 200% interest or more because we don't understand how the amortization schedule actually works. Can you imagine paying 200% interest and you don't even realize that you're doing it? I'm going to be able to show you today because the interest rate you're quoted is not the interest. That's right, Lynette. Okay, that's right. All right. She says, what? Yes, people with perfect credit, not those who are struggling. But people with perfect credit are often tricked into paying 200% interest. And I'm going to tell you why that is and where this is going. All right. Because right now, because the Fed has raised interest rates. Did you remember that it wasn't too long ago that mortgage interest rates hit 7%? And with the economy the way it was and the housing the way it was, there were bidding wars on these houses. Okay, you put a house on the market because there was so little inventory. You would get bidding wars on these houses, and they were paying more than asking for these houses. And at the time, the interest rate you could get was right at 7% or more. That is something. Now, here's what's happening. The housing market is beginning to soften just a little bit. There's still not enough inventory. All right. There's still not across the country. There's still not enough inventory, but the housing prices are beginning to soften just a bit. Okay. So if you paid more than you were supposed to, more than asking for the house, and you have a 7% interest rate, it could be that you are losing equity, and you could be upside down in your house, meaning in a little bit, your house that you bought, that you overpaid for, has no equity. And watch this, that you owe more on the house than the house is worth. You owe more on the house than the house is worth. All right. So there's something you can do about that. There's something you can do about that, and we'll talk about that as well. In fact, that's going to be a show idea. That's going to be a show idea. If you're underwater on your house, so I'm write that down. All right. Underwater on your house. We're going to do a show idea on that. Underwater on your house. Okay. Now, some of you are in good shape on your houses. Some of you in good shape on your houses, but you have this 7% interest rate. Okay. Listen, this is coming like a tsunami. It's going to seem like the best thing since sliced bread, but I'm trying to tell you that it is going to be a terrible situation, but you won't recognize it as a terrible situation. You won't. And here's why. As sure as I'm standing here or sitting here, if you have a 7% interest rate, in 5 to 7 years, interest rates will get down to at least 5 or better. 5 or less, 5% or less. If you have a 7% interest rate, and I need you all to talk to me this morning, talk back to me, you can come to the stage or put it in the chat. What is going to happen if you have a 7% interest rate and interest rates hit 5% or lower? What's going to happen, everybody? You tell me what is going to happen when that happens. Okay? What is going to happen? All right? Lynette Gooding.
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay, watch it, Siri. We're not talking to you right now. Okay? This is likely the case with my son's house. I just helped him to purchase 5% interest rate, though. Okay? Listen. And Nicole C says refinance. Refinance, refinance, refinance. Okay? Now, here is how it's going to be presented. I was telling the folks yesterday that everything we know about lending, everything that we've ever been taught about lending is wrong. Everything that we've been taught how to manage debt, we need to do the opposite. And this is just going to be, we're just going to be busting some myths this morning on what should happen when interest rates fall by a couple of points. The experts are saying you should refinance that loan and get that 5% interest rate. Now, here's the thing I need you to think about right now. If you have a 30-year mortgage, and the interest rates drop after 5 to 7 years, let's say 7 years, when you refinance, chances are you will get another 30-year mortgage. That's what most people do. And if you do that, guess what? Now you have a 37-year mortgage. What? Yeah. Think about it. Americans don't have 30-year mortgages. Did you realize that? Americans have a string of 5 to 7 year mortgages until they die. They just keep adding on and adding on. Now, here's the other thing you want to think of, and don't let me forget this, folks. Some of you, if you refinance, all right, and what you're going to do, what you're going to be offered is get a 15-year mortgage. All right. Now, remember, this is a normal thing to do. This is what is offered, and it is common. You have a 30-year, all right, and maybe 5, 7, 10 years in, you decide now it's time to get a 15-year mortgage. Never, ever, 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 ever do it. You don't need permission to get a 15-year mortgage. All right. I'm going to start right there this morning because I don't want somebody to have to go away and miss this part because I was going to do it last. We're going to move it up first. We're going to put an amortization schedule on the screen right now. And I'm going to tell you why you never need a 15-year mortgage ever. Don't ever do it. Now, listen, and as far as I'm concerned, all right, okay, where's my amortization schedule? Where did it go? Hold on, I got to bring it back. There, oh, there it is. It just didn't come all the way over. Okay, Kurt, I got it. All right, so here's the thing. Here's what you need to know. You don't need permission to ever get a 15-year mortgage. You don't need permission to get one. People refinance into a 15-year mortgage. You don't need to do that. If you want a 15-year mortgage, you can have a 15-year mortgage without refinancing. All right. Do you want to know how? Listen, I'm asking everybody here on Clubhouse and that was watching us online. If you want to know how to get a 15-year mortgage without having to refinance it, go ahead and put a number 9 in the chat. Put a number 9 in the chat and I'll show you. If you're on Clubhouse and you want to see these numbers, go to YouTube, log in, search for P.I.L.L method, and you'll see our live. Okay. You'll see our live and just come on in. All right. And if you want to see what I'm getting ready to show. All right. If you want to click on my link at the top, you will also see the link that says ICE 10K live. And you can click on that and that has all of our live stuff. Okay. So watch this. If you're ready, I have right now, I'm going to put in a $200,000 mortgage, 200,000. All right. At 6%. And the payment is $11.99.10. All right. $11.99.10. Now, here is what most people don't know. I'm going to duplicate this tab and I'm going to put in 180. All right. That is for 15 years. And here is the 15-year payment. Okay. $1,687.71. Did you know that if you have this 30-year mortgage, now I don't recommend 15-year mortgages at all. You know what I recommend? I recommend getting a 30 and then learning how to pay it off in 7 to 9 years. That's what I recommend. All right. So here's what we're looking at. $200,000 at 6%. The payment is $11.99.10. If you had a 30-year mortgage, if you had a 15-year mortgage, this is what your payment would be: $1,687.71. Okay. So we had some number 9s come in. We had some number 9s. Put it in the chat. Put it in the comment section. Number 9, if you want to see what you can do instead. Now, tell me this. Could you have this 30-year mortgage signed, sealed, and delivered and make the 15-year payment, the $1,687.71? Yes or no? Tell me, what do you think? Could you have the 30-year mortgage but make the 15-year payment? You tell me. And Kim on and says yes, you can. Kim says yes, you can. All right, thank you very much, Kim. She's on Clubhouse this morning with us, and Jilly Harvey says yes. Carol Taylor says yes, and with an exclamation point. Carol, I'm thinking this has been a light bulb moment for you. Did you realize that to get a 15-year mortgage to refinance into it costs you a lot of money? And she says, she said, she said yes. So it costs you a lot of money. A refinance is somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000, and I've seen it as high as $17,000. Somebody calls you up and says, do you want a 15-year mortgage? Yes, I'd like to get a 15-year mortgage. And then they don't talk about that the $8,000 to $15,000 is going to cost you. They just roll it into the loan. They just roll it in. All right. It doesn't come out of pocket. They just rolled it in. But you got a 15-year mortgage now that you didn't need to buy. You didn't need to buy it. You could have gone. See, on my screen here is Brett Whistle. This is an amortization calculator. There are dozens, I mean, hundreds, thousands of them out there online. But I like using this one because I can get cumulative principal and cumulative interest with it. All right. Adds it all up for us. So if you have a mortgage right now, you can put in what you owe, your principal and interest payment, and your interest rate, and then you can put in 180 payments, and then you can get a 15-year payment. And if you wanted to, you could start making it tomorrow at the first of the month. But the thing about having a 30-year mortgage and a 15-year payment is this. If things get a little tight, guess what? You can always drop back to your original $1,199.10, your regular mortgage payment, your regular 30-year mortgage payment. It doesn't go away. But if you refinance into this mortgage where you have a $1,687 payment and things get tight, you're stuck. You can't fall back to that 30-year payment. Folks, does that make sense? Does that make sense to you this morning? Put a yes or a no if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, say no. If it does make sense, put a yes in the comment section. All right. If you're watching us online, go ahead and do that. All right. Now, what happened to my folks that are watching me on YouTube? So they stopped commenting. All right. Did we lose contact with them? Are you still there? And I got my folks here on Clubhouse saying, yes, 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 they get it. They get it. They get it. Now, I want you to always understand. Here's what we need to start on this. When the tsunami hits, when the interest rates fall, and your mailboxes start getting filled up with offers to refinance, your phone is going to start ringing off the hook. Come on in and refinance. I need you to ask this question. All right. I need you to ask this question and I need you to answer it for me today. If by refinancing you are saving money, then who has to be losing money? Go ahead and answer it today. If by refinancing you're saving money, who has to be losing money then? Go ahead, put it in Kim says the lender. Kim says the lender. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else say the same thing? Does anybody say the lender or the bank? Do you all agree with her? Yes. See, I was the lender. All right. Everybody's saying the lender. Okay. Well, all right. And watching from a Facebook user from South Africa, your program helped me to buy my second house in less than 5 years. Oh my goodness. Watching from South Africa, thank you so very much for letting us know that. All right. Thank you so much, very much for letting us know that. Okay. Somebody said, Kirk Nugent says, we lost comments on YouTube. I don't know what happened. But we lost comments on YouTube. I am so sorry for that. All right. So it says, but I'm looking there and they are active. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me see if I can pull it. I'm going to pull up YouTube on my third screen here. All right. So that I'm going to log into my own show. All right. So new window. All right. I'm logged into my own show. All right. And on YouTube so I can see the comments. All right. And there we go. Okay. And all right. There we go. I can see the comments now. All right. And skip the ads. And there we are. I can see the comments now. I can see them. All right. Great. I am so look at you, Kurt. Don't mess with Kurt Nugent, okay? Don't mess with Kurt Nugent. He's going to listen. He's going to make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to make it happen. So yeah, and now I see the number nines. I see the number nines. All right. Pay it down principal instead. Please use 750K at 3%. All right. So Charles wants me to use 350K at 3%. Okay. So let me show you what would happen, Charles. I've got a mortgage here, and I want to refinance that mortgage. All right. And let me get this off my screen. Something is happening here. There we go. All right, I'm in. All right. Charles says, could you do $750,000 at 3%? What if I had a mortgage here at $750,000? It's $750,000. Okay. I had it at 7. And then somebody says, listen, I'm going to show you how to get a 3% mortgage. I'm going to show you how to get a 3% mortgage. Okay. 750,000 at 3%. All right. Listen, I love it when you guys participate because it helps me. We're going to get a 360-month payment on that. All right. Now, they just refinanced to 750, meaning they probably paid it down to $740,000. Okay, they paid it down to $740,000, but they cost $10,000 to refi this mortgage, but they got a better payment. So we're going to put it in at 3%. Okay, we're going to put it in at 3, and then we're going to do another one at 7%. We're going to do we got 316. We're going to do another one at 7. Okay. So we can see the difference in payment. All right. So we're going to do that. At 7%, the payment is $4,989.77. At 3%, okay, the payment is, here we go, $3,162.03. Way better. Way better. All right. Now, let me show you something that most people don't realize. There is a tsunami coming. And we all realize that if I ask this question in the beginning, if you are saving money by refinancing, who's losing it? Who's losing it? Remember, the interest rate you're quoted is not the interest rate you pay. And I see Paula is raising her hand. Let me bring her up on stage. Good morning, Miss Paula. All right. All right. Invite you to the mortgage syndicate as well. Let me follow you. All right. I'm following you now, Miss Paula. I'm going to bring you up to the stage. So when I click on that, come on up. So she's on Clubhouse, and I want to invite her up. Where did she go? All right, Paula, I'm looking for you. I don't see you now. Huh, she disappeared. All right, Paula, if you can raise your hand, because I don't see you now. She was in here on Clubhouse, but I don't see her now. But anyway, she had raised her head, but now I don't see her. All right, so now here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. I need you to understand this. It costs about $10,000 to refi this loan, and they roll it into your mortgage payment. And I want to show you something. So if you're at $740,000 and you refi this loan, and now you're at $750,000, even though you have a significantly smaller payment, let me show you what happens, because you have to pay back the first $10,000 to get back to the $740,000 you had when you refinanced the loan in the first place. Does that make sense? Let me see this one more time. You are at $740,000. You refinanced it, and it cost $10,000 to refinance. So now it's $750,000. You have to pay back the $10,000 to get back to the $740,000 you had before you refinanced. And you're thinking, if I roll that $10,000 into the loan, I'm paying it's 3% interest, so it can't be that bad. Let me show you what happens at 3% interest amortized over 30 years. Let's take a look at this payment. First of all, let's see this. $750,000 at 3%. The bank wants $388,330.80. If you're watching us online, it could be a little bit delayed. $388,330.80. That's how much interest they want. Folks, does that look like 3% of $750,000 to you? All right. No, it is actually, look over here to the right, it is actually 51.77%. All 3% loans for 30 years are 51% loans. Remember what I said? The interest rate you're quoted is not the interest rate you pay. 3% really is 51%. If you want to know, all right, watch this. We're going to pay back the first $10,000 on this loan. I want you to see here. Now, look at cumulative principal and look at cumulative interest. Cumulative principal and cumulative interest. So we're going to take a look at the amount of interest principal we pay each month and the amount of interest. Look at this. It starts out at $1,875 a month interest, which is huge. That's your money. Your payment is $3,162.03, and that's just the principal and interest. We're not even talking about taxes and insurance right now. But it starts out at $1,875 in interest. So now look at cumulative principal. Your principal payments start out at $1,287, and they progressively get a little higher every month. All right, but it takes 8 months to pay back the first $10,000 on this loan. 8 months. Okay. Look at this. Look how much interest you pay on a $10,000 loan. $14,909. $14,000 interest. Let me ask you this, everybody that's online, and we have several people online. We've got a ton of people in here on Clubhouse. And if you're on Clubhouse, go ahead and start sharing this to everybody. I see Steve is back in here again. Let me invite Steve up to the stage because he likes to come up. All right. And he's up on the stage. He likes to sit. Steve, how are you doing this morning?
All right, yourself, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. So, Steve, did you just hear that? We've got an example of $750,000. It costs $10,000 to refi, but to pay back that first $10,000, it takes 8 months to do it. 8 months to pay back $10,000. But the bank gets to charge $14,909 on a $10,000 loan. How fair is that?
It's not.
Okay.
But because of you educating us, so we know not to do it. Right. So I see Paula back in. Paula, I just invited you up to the stage. All right. So in the lower right-hand corner, Paula, this is her first time on Clubhouse. You see that she has a party hat. Lower right hand is your microphone. You can tap that microphone and you can speak. Good morning, Paula.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I have been struggling so hard. I am good. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm trying to respond on some of the questions, but I got kicked off on YouTube because the service is down in my area. So thank God you taught me how. I'm so thankful that you invited me to this because I would miss out on everything.
Wow. So you're having a problem with your internet in your area.
Yeah.
Paula.
So if you never told me about Clubhouse and invited me last night, it wouldn't have happened. So God bless you.
So Paula, so some of the folks in your church are able to hear you even because they're on YouTube and they can still hear you. How about that?
That's awesome.
Not only that, but wasn't you that told me that it was God that this was a divine appointment, that God was leading you to all this information, and now now that you were so looking forward to getting this information, you still don't you don't have to miss it because you downloaded Clubhouse. How about that?
How about that? How about that? So that just enhanced the testimony even further.
All
You
right.
see, I told you.
All right.
The Lord has it all sorted out. I'm from the Living Manor Church, just in case. I'm Dr. McFarlane, just in case anyone is wondering who Paula is.
All right. All right. Living Manor Church in the house. All right, Paula, thank you so much for being here this morning. And if you ever have a question, just open up your mic and ask it, okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right, go ahead and mute out. Thank you. So here's what I'm talking about, folks. Let me ask you something here. And I need you all to respond if you're online, all right, or if you're in Clubhouse. If you borrow $10 from me and I say, pay me back the $10 plus an additional $10 interest, what interest rate am I asking for? What interest rate is that? If you borrow $10 from me and I say, pay me $10 interest, what interest rate is that? And I want to look into the chat, and I'm looking online for our responses. Okay, Sylvia says 100%. Courtney says 100%. All right, and let me see if I see anybody online put that in. Do I see it online? All right, Paula McFarland says 100% interest. Okay, so here's my question. If you borrow $10,000 from the bank, and you pay them $10,000 in interest to pay it back, what is the interest rate on that? What is the interest rate on that $10,000 if you pay it back and you pay $10,000 in interest? What is the interest rate on that? All right. Sylvia says, again, 100%. Paula says the same. So, folks, if you have perfect credit and you can get a 3% mortgage these days, and you have to have like phenomenal credit. It doesn't even exist. But if you could get it, you'd have to have perfect credit to get a 3% refinance. Okay. And in the first 8 months, you're not only going to pay $10,000 interest, but $14,000 interest. So if it's 100% at 10,000, wouldn't that be 140% loan that a person with perfect credit got tricked into? Listen, if your credit union sent you a mailer that says, I got a deal for you. I'm going to lend you $10,000 for 8 months. And all you have to do is pay us back $14,909.45 to do it. Would you sign up for that loan? Okay. Would you sign up for that loan? If your credit union says borrow $10,000 and in 8 months pay us back and $14,000 in interest on top of that. Okay. Would you sign up for that loan today? I want to see it. Yes or no. Put it in the chat. Go ahead and put it in the comment section if you're watching us on YouTube. Kim says no. No way. No way. Sylvia says no. Steve Mack says no. The boss he says yes, he would do it. Okay. I'm sure there's a reason. All right. So here's where we're going with this, folks. Most of you are saying no on this. We don't realize, because it's 3% interest, we don't actually realize how much interest cost we're actually paying on these loans. We don't know. Nobody is pointing it out. Now we're pointing it out. Kurt, I've lost comments again on YouTube. I'm not seeing the comments. Let me refresh this page. All right. Because I've lost all the comments. All right. Oh, I got them back.
Yeah, I'm seeing the comments. Yeah.
Okay.
They are active over there on YouTube.
Wow. Okay.
Very active. Yeah.
Very active. Okay. I don't know why we missed. We listen. We can't.
There's an issue with YouTube right now.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
All right,
good.
so I'm seeing the answers on here on YouTube and on Clubhouse. It says sure wouldn't sign up for that loan. Nope, they wouldn't sign up for it. 140%. Kayla says. David Rose says, listen. Okay, nope. 200% interest. So did you ever think that it was like this? That a person who has perfect credit could actually feel happy about this loan and never realize that the $10,000 they borrowed to pay the closing costs, they were going to pay 140% interest on that loan in a mortgage that was 3%. The interest rate you're quoted, ladies and gentlemen, is not the interest rate you pay. And the bank is in position to make billions, trillions of dollars, not on your whole mortgage. Because remember, the tsunami is coming. The interest rates will fall. And when they fall, there's going to be a ton of people refinancing, and they think they're getting a deal. I'm going to show you some things about refinancing that you never thought you would see, because it's going to happen, and somebody needs to stand in the gap to tell the truth about what happens when you refinance. Okay, so let's start with our $750,000 mortgage. We got one at 7%. Okay, and we got one at, I'm going to put this one in at 5, because it's not going to drop down to 3. It's going to drop down to 5. Okay, it's going to drop down to 5, and we're going to play around with these numbers today. And I need you to see something that's very, very exciting. All right, so somebody has this mortgage right now, $750,000 at 7%. Let me show you what happens in the very first months of this loan. $614.77 goes to principal. Look how much goes to interest. Okay, $4,375 in interest. Can you imagine? This is legal. Okay, here's what you need to know. Write this down if you're taking notes. Control the principal payment and you control the loan. Control the principal payment and you control your loan. And as you look at the interest payments you skip don't matter. Interest payments you skip don't matter. Write it down today. All right. For all of you that can't see what we're talking about, I'm going to try to remember. That what we're talking about here is I want to try to remember to tell you the numbers that we're looking at. Let me see. I've got some comments here. Let's see. Katura Fleming says swallowing the blue pill. No, Katura, you want to swallow the red pill. The red pill leads you to a new and better knowledge of things. The blue pill is you stay right where you are. Okay, so the red pill is good. The blue pill says, listen, put me back to sleep. I don't want to change. I don't want to do anything different. But I see what you mean here. I see what you mean. All right, I understand it. Okay, Nicole C says the devil is in the details. All right. And thank you very much for says we can see the screen now. All right. I was talking about the lady. Oh, yes. You're right. The lady I was talking about. Yes, because if she takes the blue pill, she's going to go right back to sleep. Thank you very much, Katura. Thank you for straightening me out. Okay. So here's what we're talking about, folks. I've got a $614 principal payment. Okay, let's just say we make this first payment in January. And when I make the payment, January, my February principal payment is $618.36. Okay, all right. Now, if I make this my very first payment in January, I don't I'm looking at my second payment here because I can see the amortization schedule on screen or on my computer or wherever I have it. All right. Do I have to wait till February to give the bank the $618.36? Do I have to wait till February to give the bank the $618.36? All right. Put it in the chat. Put it. All right. Katissa, nope. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't have to wait. I don't have to wait. Kim says no. Roderick says no. Lynette says no. Everybody's saying no. I don't have to wait. If you have it, you can prepay the $618.36. Just look in your bank account and see if you have $18 over there sitting in that account making 1/10 of 1%. Making 1/10 of 1%. I'm going to show you some math today. All right. Using this example that you've never seen before. All right. And so $618.36. If I prepay that, I'm paid down to line 2 in January. And my next mortgage payment is on line 3 of my mortgage, of my amortization schedule. And I just saved $4,371.41 in interest I never have to pay because I prepaid the 618. I just turned a 360 month payment into 359 monthly payments. Can you believe that? No one has ever pointed that out to you. You've got to ask the question, why? Let me show you something. That I don't get to talk about a lot. So I'm putting a calculator on the screen. If you're in Clubhouse and you're new to what we're talking about, go to YouTube and you can see these examples. Or you can click my card up above, ice10k.com, and you'll also see Ice 10K Live. You can click on that and get the link for YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Let me stop and do a little commercial right here. About joining us online. Okay. If you want to join us online, then you can do that by clicking on that card, ice10k.com. ICE stands for Interest Cancellation Expert. And what I want you to realize is that when you do that, you are not only helping yourself, but you're helping others to see this content by clicking on, by following us on Facebook, all right, by subscribing to us on YouTube, the types of things helps to get our message out. A couple of other things that help us to get our message out is purchasing this book. All right. I didn't even read a book all the way through because I was ADD and have Asperger's. I found out that, I'm on the autism spectrum. I didn't read a book all the way through until I was 46 years old. And now we have a best-selling book. You can get it on Amazon. Okay. And then start sharing this information with others. The unique thing about this book is this. No other book on Amazon out of 33 million titles begins to talk about this subject that we're talking about today. How in the world did that happen? There's only one answer for that. It is truly a gift from God that I can even talk about this today. All right. Because I can't explain it any other way. When I see an amortization schedule, I see things in pictures and patterns, and these are the patterns that present themselves. So enough of that right now. Let's get back to the numbers, because I would like for you to go ahead and wherever you're watching us from, follow us, subscribe, click on the notification bell, and that way you will be able to be notified whenever we're online. Watch this. Your first interest payment, ladies and gentlemen, first interest payment on this is $4,345. $4,375. All right. $4,375. That's the first interest payment. Your total payment on this is $4,989.77. So we're going to divide it by $4,889.77. Watch this. 87.876. 0.876. That means 88%. 88% of this payment is interest alone. 88% is interest alone. Oh my goodness. 88%. So for every payment dollar you putting towards this, every payment dollar, that means every dollar you put towards this mortgage, 88 cents out of every dollar is going to interest, and you're buying your home with 12 cents out of every dollar. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. How did we get into this thing? 88%, 88 cents out of every dollar is going to interest, while 12 cents out of every dollar is paying for your house. And it has been normalized. And we can do this. Did you realize that the chances are this house could be paid off in 7 to 9 years instead of 30 years to never? 7 to 9 years. This is what we're doing, helping people to do this. Now, I want you to understand me clearly. I don't mind borrowing money. I actually like it. And here's why. Once you know what to do, you can borrow money at a discount. Now, who doesn't like a discount? Who doesn't like a discount today? Well, listen, Nicole online is saying, we truly perish for a lack of knowledge. That is predestined 116. Nicole is saying highway robbery. All right. Lynette Gooding is saying horrific. Roderick is saying it's a scam. Come on now. And Lynette says, wow, come on. So we can turn this thing around, because the same rules that the bank is using to charge us all this money, we can actually use the same rules not to pay it. So if you could cut your interest cost on this loan by 75 to 80%, you could pay this thing off in 7 to 9 years and borrow the bank's money at a discount. I like borrowing money. Now, let me show you somebody who's successful in borrowing money. Somebody who's very successful in borrowing money, and they're right in your community. Liza, what are you doing in the audience? You know better. You know better. Liza, what are you doing in the audience? Let me invite you up. Okay. All right. So I hope you can come up. All right. She's a realtor. She knows what we're talking about here. Sheila, I see you raise your hand. Let's invite you up as well. You may even have a question. So, Miss Sheila, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great.
Do you have a question or a comment this morning?
I do, but I also know it helps your room to have more people and the
Yes.
in the house up top. So
thank you.
But I do have some questions. I've listened to you several times before.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have a new my youngest daughter and her husband just purchased a house.
Yes.
And just moved in yesterday. And so I've told them about this program, and I'm listening today and going to order the book for them too.
Thank you so very much.
Because houses today cost way more than they should for the 25-year-old, successful people that are actually able to get the loans, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to pay for a house as much as they should. I mean, as much as they're charging, because houses today the prices are just wacky. Exactly.
So we're going to do what we can to make sure that people can do a lot better. Thank you very much for coming to the stage, Miss Sheila. Listen, Sheila, here's what I'm going to ask you also to do. Since you mentioned this to your son, let's do this for you. Go to ice10k.com, which is my link at the top. And if you haven't already, sign up to become to send us referrals. You can sign up to become one of our partners. How would you like that? To become an affiliate?
I would love it, and I would love to educate younger people about this.
Okay, so go to ice10k.com. If you're online right now, go to ice10k.com. It stands for Interest Cancellation Expert. You'll see a link there that says become an affiliate. And as you become an affiliate, as you share this information with people, if they owe at least $100,000 and you share this information with them and they become a client, we'll pay you $300. How about that? Okay, if they become a client. Oh man, listen, we love giving away money over here. Okay, we've given away thousands. All right, we love giving away money over here. So Sheila, thank you so very much. And if you're online right now and you can't, go ahead. You'll see what it looks like. It takes about 15 seconds to sign up, and it's absolutely free. And here's what you're going to do to help do what Sheila is talking about is send people to our YouTube channel. If you find somebody who's tired of being sick and tired of dealing with their debt and it's not going away fast enough. If they want something new, something better, a better way of doing things, send them to our YouTube channel. Follow up with them within 48 hours when you follow up with them. And then if they still want to know more, then go back to the ICE 10K card and fill out refer a friend. Put your name in the referral partner part. And then when they become a client, we'll send you out the fee of $300, and you get to click on how you want it sent to you. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, however you want it. Okay, we'll send it to you as a thank you for sharing the information. So let's get back into this thing. So 87%, oh, I got Liza on here. I almost forgot. Liza, how are you this morning? Can you speak to us this morning? All right. Listen, I got a couple of other moderators on the stage. If you can speak, flash your mic for me right quick. All right, go ahead. All right, Giuseppe, good morning to you, sir. How are you?
I'm the top of the world, Ice. I'm top of the world. Thanks for asking.
All right, all right. Listen, thank you so very much for being here. And listen, Giuseppe, for all of our audience here, tell them who you are, what you do, and why you're in this room today.
My name is Giuseppe, Italian real estate investor since 1991, over 3 decades. And before I started to invest 2006 in USA, I loved flip property because in Italy is the big business, is the flip property. 2006, I've been flipping over 1,000 property since 2006 in Florida. Why? Why I started to live 2015 in USA? As this is the only country in the world, is not real estate magic, is the financial system. People need to understand you are very lucky if you are born in USA, because thanks to the financial system, the building you can buy, the single family home you can buy is for investment. If there's produced income and you have a good credit score, it's deal. In Europe, you need to cover the rate of mortgage with your tax return. For this, I give this number and I give the word back to reflect people how lucky you are. 27 years in Italy, over 100 company, over 1,100 employees in the same moment. But personally, I never was owner of a 25 property. USA today, between Texas, Ohio, and Florida, over 400 property. Tell me, is the land of the dream this? Giuseppe, back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Giuseppe. So, folks, we're going to get right back into these numbers. I promised you the math here. I promised you the math. I showed you how 87% of this payment is going to interest. And some of you were absolutely floored that this is absolutely legal in the United States. Yes, you better believe it's legal. Let's go ahead and put that back on the screen, Kurt. So we're going to put our amortization schedule back on the screen, and we're going to proceed here. So I want to show you what happens when we think this way. What if you bought your gasoline this way? What would happen if you bought your gasoline this way? And all right, it takes about $45 to fill up your tank. All right. But for every dollar you paid for gas, how many dollars would you have to use if only 17 cents out of that dollar actually went into the gas tank? How many dollars would you have to use if 17 cents out of every dollar actually went into the gas tank? So we're going to take $45. We're going to divide it by 17 cents. It comes up to $264.70. It would take $264 to fill up your gas tank if only 17 cents out of every dollar actually bought gas. The rest was taxes. Would you stand for that? Would there be a national outcry I'm sorry. I said 17 cents. All right. It's actually 12 cents. Oh my goodness. What am I doing? Let's put that $45 back on there. We're going to divide it by 12 cents. 12 cents. Okay. $45. And we're going to divide it by 12 cents. 12 cents. $375 to fill up your tank. $375 to fill up your tank. If every dollar you used to buy gas, only 12 cents out of every dollar went into the gas tank, and the 88 cents went to taxes. Nobody would want that. It would be on the news. It would be nonstop. All right, people talking about it. But guess what? Nobody's talking about the fact that it's okay to charge 7% interest on a mortgage because we're thinking 7%. We're not thinking 88%. All right. Lee Joe says, kept the masses down too long. Couture says mercy. Rick Dingman says anarchy. All right. Listen to that, Rick. Oh my goodness. Let me show you something else. Listen, you went to the grocery store, you bought $200 worth of groceries. $200 worth of groceries. What if every dollar that you're paying for your groceries to fill up your basket with $200 worth of groceries, what if out of every dollar, only 12 cents bought groceries and the rest went to food taxes, went to sales tax? 88 cents went to sales tax. Let's divide this by 12. $200 of groceries divided by 12. $1,666. $1,666 it would take to fill up your basket with $200 worth of food if only 12 cents out of every dollar actually bought food, and 88 cents out of every dollar actually went to sales tax. You would not stand for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to stand for this in buying your mortgage. You could do something about it. We're going to talk about it before the end of the show. There's something you can do. But let me show you. And for all of you who ever wanted to know, how in the world does the bank turn, watch this, 7% into 139%? If you are a home buyer, if you're a real estate agent, if you are a mortgage professional, all right, and you saw this title and it said the interest rate you're quoted is not the interest rate you pay, would you like to know how the bank actually does the math to charge all of this interest? Okay. All right. Couture says, let's talk, Don. You better believe it. We're going to talk. All right. We're going to talk. All right. Here's what we're going to do. All right. For those of you going to talk later on. All right. My office is closed right now. All right. But for all of you that want to talk, all right, I can spend a few minutes with you today. I'm going to put my office number into the chat. All right. My office number is 256-886-18 1867. That's my office number. There are people who are on the phones right now. Okay. So after the show or during the show or whatever, you can call and leave a message and I'll call you back today. Call the office, leave a message. I'll call you back today. I can only answer one or two questions because, some people just, they don't want to wait. I understand that. They see the information, they're getting excited. So go ahead and do that. And on Clubhouse, I'm putting this in here as well. My office phone number is 256-886-1867. Call today. A regular consultation with me usually costs $150. But if you call today, just today, don't call tomorrow because it's not going to happen. Call today and leave a message. I'll call you back. We'll talk about, 5 or 10 minutes or so. All right. And then you can go ahead and, put in a message and we'll talk for 5 or 10 minutes. How's that sound? Okay. And we won't charge you a thing. Won't charge you a thing. And you can get a little bit of free advice. Okay, folks, let's get back into this thing right now. Okay. Here's what we're doing. All right. Here's what we are doing right now. Let's see here. We're just, I promise, if you want to see the math, of how the bank does this, put a number 7 in the chat. Put a number 7 in the chat right now, because when I show you this, it's going to help you to pay off your debt in 7 years instead of 30 years to never. Put a number 7 in the chat right now if you want to see how the bank does this. I'm going to show you for the first time in your lives how this is done. Because look at all the number 7s coming in here online. Look at all the number 7s coming in here on Clubhouse. I am telling you, this is some exciting stuff. You deserve to know how this works. So first of all, we're going to pull up right here the amortization. Let me see here. Amortization. Okay. Amortization formula. There it is. Okay. This is the formula. And you'll see it on your screen in just a second, ladies and gentlemen. This is the formula that the bank uses to charge us all of that interest. Here's the formula that the bank uses to charge us all of that interest. Okay? I don't fully understand it. All I know, it's very expensive. But I'm going to break it down so that it will kind of make sense as to what this is actually saying, what they are doing to us each and every month. All right. So we're going to go back to the mortgage. All right. Let me see here. There it is. 750,000 at 7%. All right. 750,000 at 7%. Here's what they are doing. All right. So I need you to take a look at payment number 1. All right. And we're going to put up our calculator here. All right. Our calculator here. And I'm going to put in 0.07. 0.07 right there. There it is. 0.07. Okay. What they're doing is taking the 7% interest rate and dividing it by 12. So we're going to divide this by 12. And this is what you get. 0.0058 and a bunch of 3s. That's what they're doing. They're taking the 7% and dividing it by 12. They take this number and multiply it by your principal balance. So the very first principal balance is $750,000. So we're going to multiply it by $750,000. And we're going to see what it is. Watch this. $4,375. Look at this. Look at this. On the interest payment there. It's exactly the same. This is how they do it. All right. Now, once you make your payment, $600 and $14.77 goes to principal. So you don't owe the same amount anymore. Now you owe $749,385.23. Guess what? They do the same thing the next month. They take your 7%, divide it by 12. They take the 0.583333. They take that number and then multiply it by the new principal balance of $749. Listen, I got some math teachers in here. They're loving it. They're going to take this to their students. $749,385.23. Okay, let's calculate that. And now our next interest payment is $4,370. Oh, I did it wrong. Hold on. Let me start. Listen, I got excited and I did it wrong. Okay. 7%. Okay. Divided by 12. Okay. 0.00583333. Okay. That's what they're using. They're taking that number and then we're going to multiply it by the new principal balance, multiply this by $749,385.23. There it is. Okay. $4,371.41. Look here. Look at my interest payments. $4,371.41. So for all of you, Tammy Boyd is in the house. All right. Let's get her up here. All right. I see Miss Anna is up here on the stage. Thank you for coming up. All right. Let's invite Tammy up. Okay. I see you in here, Tammy. All right. Invite to speak. Thank you very much. All right. So let me finish this point up and then we'll talk to the folks on stage. Here's what's happening. Somehow we were thinking that if I have a 7% interest rate, they're taking that 7% and multiplying it by my $750,000 and coming up with the payment structure. No. And they're not multiplying it by the whole $750,000 and then coming up with your payments. Here's what they're doing. They're taking 1/12 of the interest rate and multiplying it by the unpaid balance 360 times. It's not one mortgage. It's 360 separate mortgages strung together. That's what's happening. And that's what you're not being told in school. 360 separate mortgages, because every time there's a principal balance, they hit you again with an interest payment of 1/12 of your interest rate every single month. How about that? That is what's happening. But somebody's saying no way. But do you see it? Do you see what's happening? So what we need to do is something different, folks. If we can get them to charge us fewer times, then we don't have to pay so much interest. Right? We get them to charge us fewer times. So if I prepay the $618.36, they can't take 1/12 of the interest rate and multiply it by the principal balance on line 1. They have to take 1/12 of the interest rate if I prepay this one and multiply it by this one, which gives us the next payments on line 3. So $618 prepaid saves me the $4,371.41 they wanted to charge me in the first place. Are you seeing that, everybody? Are you seeing that? Okay. Are you seeing that? Now, before I show you this part, let me talk to the folks I've got on stage. I have Miss Anna here on stage. Somebody brought you up, Miss Anna. How are you doing this morning?
Hi, Hi, thank you for inviting me, Giuseppe. Bring me out on the stage.
Okay.
It's my first time in here, so thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with me and with all of us today.
You are so welcome. Do you have a question or comment?
No, at the moment, I'm just listening, and no, I could have some questions maybe later, but
Well,
not in this moment.
Well, thank you very much
Thank you.
for gracing our stage. By you being here, you're actually helping to grow the room. We appreciate you so very much this morning. All right, folks, if you're not a member of the P.I.L.L, if you're not a member of the Mortgage Syndicate House, if you're in here on Clubhouse, go ahead and tap on Mortgage Syndicate and join that house. Also, tap on my profile as well, and then you can join the P.I.L.L Method house as well. And anytime we're open, you're going to get notified and you're going to get good information like this, like you've never heard before. Some of you are absolutely shocked at how the banking system is charging interest like this. And the reason why you don't know it is because something like this, by prepaying the $618.36 on line 2, you don't have to pay the $4,371.41 on line 2. You just saved all of that interest. I want to show you something that is equally or probably more shocking, okay? Equally, if not more shocking. In the first year on this loan, we get so caught up in just making the payments. They become like rent. We just make the payments every month because we can afford to make the payments. You know, we can afford it. If somebody has this house, generally they can afford to make the payments. It's not hard. It's okay. But they don't have any idea of the interest cost. And in my book, I call it interest, how much interest we're consuming, interest consumption. We have no idea of our interest consumption. And in this case, watch this. In the first year on this loan, all of our principal payments are added up for 1 year. Look at the third column. And in the third column, we have a principal pay down. How much money goes to principal? $7,618.59. That's how much of your equity you just bought back from the bank. When you purchase your house using bank money, using a mortgage, they're actually buying your equity. And you're buying it back from them at $600 a month. Okay? 600, starting out at 614 and ending up at 655 in month 12. Okay? You're buying it back for them for a little over $600 a month. But each month you purchase your equity for $600, it costs you over $4,000 each month to do it. So by the time you have 12 months in, you've bought $7,618.59 of your equity back, but it costs $52,258.65 in interest to do it. Now you tell me, is 52 grand too much to pay to purchase $7,600 worth of equity? You tell me. So Rick Dingman says, feels like my head is gonna bleed. He says he knew we were being taken for a ride, but I didn't think it was that bad. He didn't think it was this bad. You better believe, Rick, it's this bad. Only because we have not been educated. And the reason why we haven't been educated is what I'm getting ready to show you right now. Watch this. Okay, watch this. The $7,618.59 you would pay in 1 year to bring this mortgage down. Let me ask you, now that you know, do you have to pay the $7,618.59 over 12 monthly installments? Put a yes or a no. Do I have to pay the $7,600 in 12 monthly installments? Put a yes or a no in the chat. Okay. Steve Mack says no. Okay. All right. Jackie Wood says called and left a message with my service. Okay, Jackie. All right, Jackie wants to talk today. Okay. Online, Christy says no. Lynette says no. Rick Dingman says no. Kim on Clubhouse says no. All right. Everybody is saying no. Everybody's saying no. You don't have to. So, folks, let me ask you this. If it were possible, I'm going to do the math so that you can see it. I'm going to do the math so you can see it. You know, because I have a math teacher in here. All right. And you know, math teachers always say this: show your work. Show your work. Don't just give me the answer. Show your work. Isn't that right, math teachers? Okay. So we're going to start out. So if I prepay this amount, okay. So in the the very first payment, $614.77 goes to principal. I'm going to pay a total of $7,618.59 in principal in the first year. So if I gave the bank the remainder of the 706, because I've already given them 614 on line one, I just need to give them the remainder of the 716.1859. All right. I can prepay that amount. Okay. I can prepay that amount, which would be right around $6,900. I could prepay the rest of that, which would be about $6,900. So if I did that, it would be a total of $7,618.59. So what we're going to do is put in our $750,000. Okay. If I gave the bank the $7,618.59, now I'm not saying this is what you have to do. I'm not saying this is how my program works. I'm just saying, what if you did? What if you did do this? Some of you have more than this in the bank. Some of you have less than this in the bank. But what if you did have it? Here's what you could do. You could give that $7,618.59 in month one. Let's subtract $7,618.59. 59. There it is. It equals 742,381.41. Look here, folks. Look at my amortization schedule. That's the exact same number on line 12. So if I paid that much money on line 1, I'm paid down to line 12 in just 1 month and not 12 months. I'm paid down to line 12 in 1 month, not 12 months. Is that correct? Is that correct? So then what happens to all the interest payments between line 2 and line 12? What happens to them, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to wait.
Canceled.
It is canceled. It is canceled. All of those interest payments are canceled. Try over $47,900 gone in interest you never have to pay. Folks, sometimes I just get tired when I go over this information with individuals and know that somebody who didn't know paid $52,000 to get to this point, where all they had to pay, if they had the money, they only had to pay $4,375 in interest to do the same thing. That is a big difference between $52,258.65 and $4,375. So remember what I said, the interest payments you skip don't matter. I don't care how big the interest payments they are if I get to skip them because of how the amortization schedule is set up. This is why your mortgage professional who sells mortgages doesn't understand how this works. This is why your real estate agents aren't taught how this works. This is why your CPAs aren't taught how this works. Your financial planners aren't taught how this works. They're not taught because somebody doesn't want you to know how easy it is to save $47,900. Joe Slaughter says this doesn't sound correct at all. Like somehow you don't have to pay interest on the remainder of your principal. No, Joe, I'm not saying that. So let's start over, Joe. Let's start over. Okay. So Joe says you only get to pay less interest by $7,000 and you don't get to skip the interest payments at all. Okay. So Joe, how about this? What if you tell me, Joe, since because it's not easy to understand right at the beginning. What if you on this loan you made the very first payment? Okay. Now, Joe, everybody else gets to see my numbers. Okay. Everybody else gets to see my numbers. All right. Go to YouTube so you can see the numbers, because if you don't know the interest, if you can't add up all the interest right away for a year, it's hard to see and understand. So let me ask you this. If you have this same loan, $750,000, okay, $750,000 at 7% interest, and you made the very first payment, $614.77 goes to principal, $4,375 goes to interest. I think you would agree with that. Okay. What would happen if your long lost uncle gave you $750,000 for you to pay off the rest of your mortgage the next month? Instead of making the payment of $4,989.77, you stroked a check for the $749,385.23 that you owe. If you did that the next month, what would happen to the rest of the interest payments, Joe? What would happen to the rest of the interest payments if you stroked a check for $749,385.23? What would happen to them? You would get to pay less interest. No, just answer that question. What would happen if you paid off the rest of the principal? What would happen to the rest of the interest payments the bank was looking for? You'd have a zero balance. And what if the bank came knocking on your door and says, you just paid off the mortgage, but we want you to continue to pay us interest? What would you tell them, Joe? Yeah, they couldn't get any more interest out of you because you paid them off, right? Okay, so if I can get rid of all the interest payments, okay, if you paid the principal completely, okay, I heard pay a year of principal. All right. So if you can get rid of all the interest payments, how come I can't get rid of a year's worth of interest payments if I can get rid of all of them? If I can give the bank the money that they would be expecting in 1 year, $7,618.59, if I gave it to them over a year, here's what I'm doing, Joe. I'm giving them $600 a month in principal payments, but every month I'm paying them over $4,300 in interest for 12 months. I'm paying them $600 payments for 12 months. So in 12 months, that means I would pay them $7,618.59 over 12 months and $52,000 in interest over 12 months. But if I gave the bank the $7,618.59 on month one, I just saved $47,000 in interest I never have to pay. And my next mortgage payment would be on line 13 of my schedule. That's what's happening. All right. I hope that makes more sense. Okay. All right. So that's why you have to take a look at my screen. Go to YouTube, Joe, and you'll see what we're talking about. And you can watch the replay. It's very, very clear of what we're doing here. Okay. Excellent. So, folks, I want to thank you so much for being here for this much. So anybody who's on stage, if you have a question online or on stage, go ahead and ask your question while I talk to Miss Tammy this morning. Miss Tammy, how are you? Are you available to speak? All right. She's probably working this morning because, you know, she has I think she has duties at her church. All right. So that she's on duty probably. All right. listen, folks, this is what we're saying. If you have a question this morning about what we have so far, go ahead and ask your question in the chat. Okay. Okay. Use an Excel equation call. All right. But the thing is, Joe, it doesn't negate what I just said. When you pay principal, when you prepay principal, you have to be able to calculate how much interest you saved. Okay. When you prepay principal, you can't be asked to save the same amount. You can't be asked to pay the same amount of interest. You have to be able to figure how much interest you actually saved. And because right now, if I gave you $500 and said, Joe, put this on your mortgage principal. Now tell me how much interest you saved. It would take a whole lot of stuff to do that, to try to figure that out. But we already have a program that does that for our clients. We have a program that does that for our clients, which makes it very easy. I'm going to show that to the screen right now. All right. So what you want to do, folks, is get a savings and earnings report. This is not easy to understand. All right. It's not easy. Some people have to hear this over and over and over again before they actually get it. It is so mind-boggling that we get so used to paying interest. Okay, get so used to paying interest that this is what happens. It's called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance. Look at this. Cognitive dissonance, the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. We can get so used to paying all of this. When we find out we don't have to, it boggles the mind. It is so hard to see. Go ahead, Kurt.
Just a couple of questions on YouTube. I wanted to make sure you saw.
Oh, please do. Please do, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, Roderick is
yes,
asking, so each month you are making your regular mortgage payment plus the next principal payment on the amortization schedule? That's his question.
Okay, I'll ask that one more time.
So each month you are making your regular mortgage payment plus the next principal payment on the amortization schedule.
Right now, Roddy, all I'm pointing out is if you prepaid your regular, you're making a regular mortgage payment. Excuse me, you're making a regular mortgage payment, and I just showed what would happen if you prepaid just the next principal payment, how much interest you would save.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's exactly what happens. And you drop down to the next mortgage payment on the next line after that.
Right. There's always a payment. Every month there's a payment.
There's a payment every single month. There's a payment every single month. Okay. That's what's happening.
One more here from Lynette says, what happens if you are several months into mortgage payments? Where do you start to pay down?
Oh, okay. Well, let's take a look at this. All right. Let's take a look at this. So whenever we meet our clients, some people meet us and they're already 5 years in. Okay. So if this client who had a $750,000 mortgage, okay, even at, let me see here, at 7%. All right. At 7%, and they met us 5 years in, that's 60 payments in. All right. That means that they have already paid this mortgage down by $44,000. I want you to see this just in 60 months. This is 5 years. How much interest they've already paid? $255,373.02. Already $255,000. Already $255,000. Folks, that's what? That's almost $300,000. $299,000. Almost $300,000 they paid out in 5 years, and only $44,000 is going to principal. $255,000 is going to interest. So what we would do is pick it up from here. We would do an analysis. Okay, we would do an analysis. It's called it. You would get you would call us up or go online and request a savings and earnings report. You would tell us you owe $705,986.82. You would give us that information. We would figure out how much interest you have left to pay. And then we could figure out for you how much interest you would not have to pay from this point on. We would pick it up from here and start attacking this loan. So if you want to know more about how to get a savings and earnings report, since you asked, let's put that on the screen. You would go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, and click on get a savings and earnings report. Get a savings and earnings report. Follow all of the directions. And once you put in your financial data, someone from my staff will give you a call and confirm your numbers. You can confirm all of your numbers. And once you confirm your numbers, then you could set up a consultation. And you will know, here's what you'll know. The month, day, and year you could be debt free. How much interest you would save. And how much, what that interest saved for you if you invested that money, what it could potentially earn for you when you don't have to give it to the bank. Okay? So that is what's happening if you want to get a savings and earnings report. How much do we charge for the savings? Kurt, how much do we charge for the savings and earnings report?
The savings and earnings report is actually free.
What?
I can't believe it. Every time I say it, I'm shocked. And that's what I'm just glad you kind of paused there to make sure that people know that the savings and earnings report is really what you want.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of the comments. And I think that, as usual, Don, a lot of people are wanting to find a strategy that they can employ by themselves. And I think that is noble. I think there's definitely information here that you can use that will change your outlook and financially. But I think the best next step for most people who are watching, if you are tired of being taken advantage of by the banks, by the information that we were not given, your best next step is going to be a savings and earnings report, because the savings and earnings report, it's free. Now, the consultation with Don, you've got to pay for Don's time. So that's going to cost you. But the actual document, which is, in my opinion, worth over $1,500, that document is free. And you can get that just by going to ice10k.com right now, clicking that middle button on the page that says get a savings and earnings report, put your information in there, and somebody from Don's team is going to contact you. So, yeah.
Exactly. So what we're going to do here now, folks, I don't know, is Joe Slaughter still in the room? Joe, are you still in the room? Okay, Joe, let's bring Joe up to the stage. Invite to speak. Come on up, Joe, because Joe's putting some stuff in the. So let's get. Good morning, sir. Let's get some clarity. Okay. All righty. So here's where we're going to start. I've been doing this for 18 years. And I have a best-selling book on Amazon. I've been doing this for 18 years. And if you Google P.I.L.L method right now, we've been in business for 18 years. In 18 years, we don't have one negative comment about what we do from anybody who's actually used and understand our service. Not one negative report anywhere in 18 years. That's number one. Number two, there's not a week that goes by that somebody doesn't come to us and say, I figured out what you're doing wrong. So here is another week, and here's somebody else. So Joe, do you have a question or comment this morning?
I just find it fascinating the way that you mentioned it. You're stating that you're paying off all the principal at that upfront.
No, I'm not stating that at all. If you have a question,
right. So at the very beginning of the year, if I don't pay off all the insurance,
Joe, ask a question.
Have interest payments the next 12 months.
Joe,
correct?
Ask a question and I can answer it for you. Okay, go ahead. What's your question?
That 50 grand of interest that you claim, I can't see how it goes to zero.
Okay, so here's what we're talking about. Are you watching this online?
Especially if post that year, after that year.
Joe, don't try to teach this morning. Just ask your question. We don't need you teaching. We just need you to ask a question. Okay?
Fine. Is your statement that you're not going to pay interest on month 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 through 12?
No, what I'm saying is you're going to pay interest every single month. Every single month you have a payment. What I'm saying is you reduced, so the total amount of interest that the bank is looking for on this loan, okay, is $1,046,317.20. What I am saying is that you reduce the amount of interest that the bank is looking for by $47,000. That's what I'm saying. But you have a mortgage payment every single month. And every single month, if you were to prepay the $7,618.59, okay, let's say you did that in the month of January and you prepaid the $7,618.59. You save $47,000 in interest you never have to pay, and your next mortgage payment is actually on line 13 of your amortization schedule, where your next interest payment is $4,330.56, not $4,371, which you would have paid if you were on line 2. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, so you're basically saying pay down your principal faster, you'll pay a fraction of the cost of total interest.
But what I'm
Great
also
statement.
Yeah, but what I'm also saying is that you can actually know how much interest you're saving per dollar when you prepay. You don't want to prepay just anything. You want to prepay in such a way that you can optimize the amount of interest that you're actually saving per dollar applied. Because
pay it this
Go ahead.
better, you optimize it. You pay it today, you're going to optimize not paying interest on the money that you paid today. Pay it tomorrow, you're going to pay a little bit of interest on the money that you should have paid today.
Well, not only that, Joe, but there's a point at which paying more is actually too much. There's a point at which
I'm going to say it is that the math was possible, and I guess this is new to hear that someone's making the claim the math wasn't possible before.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
To do that math and how to do that calculation was possible before.
Of course it was. Of course,
me as a first-time home buyer,
Yeah.
I did that math. I did that math based on which different interest rates,
Right.
or to refinance your mortgage to get a different mortgage interest. Then you have to consider what your closing costs would be as a amortized schedule. So same exact math.
So, Joe, I'm not saying it didn't exist. I'm just saying people weren't doing it. The math was always there.
Weren't.
Math is there.
I've been doing it for 7 years.
Well, great, Joe. So here's my question. All right. If you did this, this would be great. Okay. Because then you can help a lot of people as well.
Free calculators involved online.
No, Joe, I'm not talking about that. All I'm talking about is if you make one single payment, how much interest would you save for one single payment? Did you bother to do that?
Oh yeah, I've got the entire schedule.
Okay, so now, no, I'm just saying.
Put in a number, bam, amortization schedule tells me the numbers.
And it tells you how much interest you actually save for that one payment.
I might not have it calculating the one payment.
That's what I'm asking about.
Two different zones.
Okay, so Joe,
well, you'd have to pick which zones.
Stop. You answered my question, Joe. I got to go to the next point now. So if you don't know how much you're saving with one payment, then how can you optimize your payments if you never have a baseline? You have to have a baseline to say, if I pay this much money, I save this much interest. Then you can break it down to, I just save this much interest per dollar applied. So if you could save $6 in interest for every dollar you apply, would you want to save $4.50 in interest for every dollar you apply? That's my question to you.
Yep, got that math. You just have to make in two separate calculators then.
Well, exactly.
Same math twice.
Exactly.
Compare the two.
But you need to know if you have a certain amount of money, how many times would you have to do that math to figure out what is the optimum amount to pay to get the best interest calculation, to get the best interest savings per dollar?
It's called goal seek or what if analysis.
Right.
You can create criteria to say, what do you want it to be? Minimize my interest. Find me the number I need to pay to minimize my interest.
Exactly.
Guarantee you it's going to tell you pay down the principal to minimize your interest.
Right. And so, but see, you could
fully.
You could probably
full
write
principal. There, interest is going to be the fastest gone.
Exactly. So if
It was
you,
easy math.
no, well, here's an example that I told yesterday. So I've got a client here, Joe. Okay, thank you for helping people to understand this better. I got a client here that who's an engineer. Sounds like you're an engineer. Okay, he's an engineer, and he's actually using our program, which is an optimizing program. Okay, does thousands of calculations, looks at your entire budget, and says, out of all the options that you have, all right, you pay this much money in this month on this day of the month. Here's how much interest you save, and your interest savings are optimized in just a few seconds. I don't have to do dozens of calculators. I can use one. That is our opportunity cost calculator. So he looks at, it does thousands of permutations, and then it says, okay, this is the right one. So when he put in his extra fund, because he's making more money now than he was when he first started. By putting everything into the calculator, it says, you're going to be out of debt on the $260,000 you have left based on your income. You're going to be out of debt in 3.5 years. And you're going to pay $16,000 in interest. He was surprised to hear me say, you're paying the loan off too fast and you're not paying enough interest. He says, well, what do you mean? I thought that was the idea. I said, now tell your calculator, because you're making a lot more money now. Tell the calculator you're paying $2,000 a month less, $2,000 a month less. And because our program tells you exactly what to pay, other programs ask you to tell the program how much you want to pay. Ours doesn't. Ours says, this is how much you should pay at this time. So when the program says, now you're going to be out of debt in 6.5 years instead of 3.5, you're not going to pay $16,000 in interest. Now you're going to pay $20,000 in interest. He says, well, that's worse. Why would I do that? I said, well, here's why. You want to be out of debt in 3.5 years? And he told me why. I said, what would you have to do to get the program to go back to where it was? He says, I would have to put that $2,000 a month back into my budget. So if he's going to be out of debt in 3.5 years, that's 36 months plus another 6 months. That's 42 months. 42 months times $2,000 a month, Joe, is how much money? 42 months.
Sorry, I wasn't holding the numbers, expecting that you were going to try and do a quiz on the last second. How much?
$2,000 a month for 42 months.
Hold on. 42?
Yeah,
42
months, $2,000 a month.
Didn't hear that last number.
Yeah, 2,000.
42 times.
Yeah, 42 months times $2,000 a month.
Okay, 84. Okay.
Okay, so then I asked him, well, do you want to pay $42,000, $84,000 towards debt reduction just so that you can save an additional $4,000 in interest? What do you think he said?
What a waste.
Exactly. He could make more money by investing that money than the money he would save by attempting to pay down the mortgage so he could save interest. Our key here is not how fast you can pay down the mortgage, Joe. Our key here is how cheaply you can pay down the mortgage without violating the law of diminished return. Does that make sense?
So that way you can do a cost benefit analysis that putting your money into something else was a better interest rate.
Exactly.
Like if your mortgage is at 4% and the market's going up 8%, why the hell shouldn't you have it out on a loan on your home?
There you go.
And make the money in the market.
There you go. So being able to figure out how much money you're saving per dollar helps you to do an opportunity cost calculation, doesn't it? And that's what we're talking about. So we need to know how much we're saving anytime we do a move. And what we do is we don't leave it up to chance. Our program says, based on what you're doing here, based on your income, based on your expenses, in month 3, you should be able to put $3,672.82 on principal and save this much interest. Any more than that, the amount of interest you're saving per dollar starts to go back down. You start to violate the law of diminished return at that point. So what you're doing is you're always optimizing every single penny in your budget. Even if you have more money to put down, don't do it. Take the rest of that money and invest it. So yet you're saving interest on one side, you're also investing your money, making compound interest on the other side.
Hey, one quick thing, Don, here.
Yes.
Keturah online on YouTube is saying the savings and earnings report is not taking her cell number.
Okay. Make sure when you're putting that in, do not have any spaces. Make sure your cell phone number is right next to that number one. Don't leave any spaces, no dots, no dashes, no spaces, and then you will get your code to put in everything that you need. There you go.
Yeah, a lot of responses online, mind-blown emojis, people saying wow, lots of sense. Yeah. Somebody says this is AI at its best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
so
you,
this
Don,
is what
for explaining that very well. Debbie Brayman just said.
There you go. So here's what we're doing, folks. I'm going to now put on, while we've got that on the screen, we're going to go over how to get a savings and earnings report. You can leave that up,
Okay.
Kurt. How you can get your savings and earnings report. All right. Go to PILLmethod.com or ice10k.com and click on get a savings and earnings report. And when you do that, you'll be able to get to see how much interest you could save. All right. Optimize interest that you could save, and the month, day, and year you could be debt free with your income. Right. That's what we're going to be able to do for you. Go ahead.
Sorry, I know I know you're trying to land here, but Keturah says she did it with no spaces and it's still the same.
All right.
So maybe we just have her.
Yeah, just give me a call. Call the office at 256-886-1867. Leave a message. I'll walk you through it.
Say that number one more time.
256-886-1867. All right. So I got 1967 here.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me put this in here, right? 1867. And then I'm going to post that on YouTube and other places. So now that you have that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for what you're doing. So let me go ahead and put our calculator on the screen, and we'll take some questions about that in our last few minutes here. So, oh man, are we almost out of time?
The time goes fast.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Can you believe that? Another 2 hours is gone. So I won't be able to do any examples here, folks. But what I can do is show you what our program actually looks like. All right. And there is actually a 23-minute video on the opportunity cost calculator. So you can just search opportunity cost calculator and you can see a 23-minute video on this. It is the most powerful debt reduction, wealth building, money management program on the planet. It is the only optimizing program on the planet that helps you to cut your interest cost by the absolute most you possibly can with your income. All right. So I do have it up on the screen.
What is it called?
Opportunity Cost Calculator, OCC. So if you go on YouTube and search Opportunity Cost Calculator, you should see a 23-minute video come up on that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost out of time. We've got 4 minutes left in our 2-hour show. I want to thank everyone for being here. And we've got another show coming up on Wednesday. All right. And let me see. What is the title? Let me see the title of Wednesday's show here. So let me go back into YouTube. All right. And we're going to take a look at this. So if you want to have a quick conversation with me today, then go to 256-886-1867. And then you can have a quick conversation with me today. And the show for Wednesday is how to cancel up to 80% of your mortgage interest payments. How to cancel up to 80% of your mortgage interest payments. Sign up for that show. It was going to be amazing, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Miss Tammy, do you have some parting words for us for about 30 seconds?
They're right. It is no secret, but it's just been a secret that was kept from you. So if you want the information, that's good. You know, some people say you can do it yourself. In the words of Steve Harvey, you could drop a transmission yourself, but do you want to? The whole point of it is nobody's arguing water is wet. Nobody's going to continue to go back and forth with you. They're going to present you the information and give you the opportunity to better yourself and your financial situation. So that's it. Either you want the information or you don't. If you don't, just move around or move on or kick rocks. All that mean the same thing. Move around, move on, kick rocks. All that mean the same thing. But yeah, you don't have to argue water is wet. Either you want the information or you don't. And you'll do yourself a disservice by not putting yourself in the ultimate wealth position. And that's learning the amortization schedule and learning how to do what's best for your family.
Thank you, Miss Tammy.
What's the time of the show on Wednesday, please?
It is at 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern, but all of our shows you can catch. If you have to work, you can always catch the replay.
All right. Yeah, Katora said she made the call. So
excellent. Excellent. All right, folks, I want to thank everybody for being here. We're just about out of time. We've got enough time to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas, who is the #1 motivational speaker in the entire world right now, who's used our program to pay off his mortgage and made his wife feel a whole lot better. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Joe, thank you very much for challenging me. And I hope I have an opportunity to answer your questions correctly. Come back on Wednesday. I can answer a few more. See you guys Wednesday. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.